So we want to tell you a story that happened in 2017. Tracy and I were up to our normal January 2017. We were putting our prayer list together that we together pray over every single year. So when we put them together, we make sure that we have some really audacious goals on our list.
Things that there's just no way that we could ever do. Like
Right.
it would have to be God. And we really think that God likes that when we actually believe Him for things that are so beyond our ability.
So this year in particular, it was a debt-free church, to highlight one.
And then we also found promises that actually confirm that that really is the will of God. And in Deuteronomy, it talks about being debt-free, talks about being the lender and not the borrower. So we wrote that promise down. So in the morning, every morning, we would meditate on that promise and literally call out that we would be a debt-free church. Well, what's interesting is by February, March, we had another problem, something else that we had to pray for because we were outgrowing our facility.
So a gentleman shows up at the church mid-year, July, call it, and he says, we were down at a church just down the street, and it seems like they could use some help. So would you guys consider helping them? Because he had heard that we had helped other churches before. So we said, yeah, why not?
They were a smaller congregation in a very large church.
Mm-hmm. And we just happened to be a larger church in a small facility. So Monday we went over to just kind of drive around the parking lot, see if we could find the church that he was talking about. So unbeknownst to that pastor or ourselves, he was actually there that day. So we got an opportunity to sit down with him.
And then you said something absolutely ridiculous in the conversation.
Totally ridiculous.
So in the conversation, he actually said, would you be open to a church swap? And when he said that, I thought, we're going to be thrown out of here right now.
So he didn't punch me or throw me out of the room. So we were in good shape.
And from that day forward, there were discussions and board members meeting, and even though that was an awesome thing with the opportunity of a church swap, it was going to put us in another situation in regards to being debt-free.
Yeah, so we have on our list at the beginning of the year, we want to be debt-free as a church. Guess what? We're going double in debt to do this deal.
And the whole time while we're doing this, we're still every morning saying,
True.
In the name of Jesus, we just believe according to the promises of you, we are debt-free.
So a couple months later, a gentleman comes to the church and he said that he might be able to help us get into the building. So Tracy and I actually met with him and his wife that afternoon. We lined it up in both of our calendars and got together at a coffee shop, kind of similar to this. And the first thing he says, which kind of caught me a little bit, was, we had felt like God was directing us to give you $100,000 to help you get into your new church facility. And he said, but we've kind of reconsidered and we don't think that we're supposed to give you $100,000. I thought,
No.
That is not God. That is definitely not God. You need to help us get in with $100,000. So, but the next thing out of his mouth was, but my wife and I feel like we've heard from the Lord, and it was confirmed even on their drive to the coffee shop. He said, we feel like we're supposed to do the deal. I wasn't sure if I even knew what do the deal meant,
Right.
but I was making things up in my head, and that almost sounded like the whole deal, right? So Pastor Tracy and I were, to say the least, a little shocked, right? So they took out $3.5 million so that we did not need a loan for this church building.
So in December of 2017, we were officially a debt-free church, which is so cool. So we began the journey in January of 2017, found the promise of God, wrote that promise down, began to meditate on it morning, even at night at times, and we'd speak it out, we'd think about it, ponder it. It became so real to us, even though along the way, it looked like it actually got worse, that it wasn't going to happen. We continued to stand. And really, when we say to stand and pray, you have to stand doing something. And that something was continuing to meditate, continuing to thank God that no matter what it looked like, we were going to be debt-free.
So we told this story to help encourage your faith. Maybe there's some things that you have been stuck at, or some things that you haven't reached for because they seemed impossible.
Right.
I want to remind you of our list of impossibilities, the things that we didn't think were possible at all, but we put them on the list. We said these things are audacious. There's no way that we could do these in our own strength. Give yourself an opportunity for a miracle. Give God an opportunity to do a miracle in your life as well.